Waffle House shirt. Got my security right there. Everybody good?
Morning.
What's up, man? What are you doing back there, man? They moved you back?
Those who come late do not get fruit cup.
There you go. You had to work out this morning. That's why you're late, right? We ready? Yeah? All right, so real excited about where we are right now. We're in day 5 of training camp. It's been a real competitive camp, and the guys are really working all the way from the off season and the build up to this, getting prepared for this, and the guys have really hit the ground running. It was impressive how our players showed up, because you do all the work in the off season, and then they're going to go away for a brief period, so they have to have that maturity to continue to work, and our players really did. We're very impressed when we come in for the conditioning and to weigh in, the way the guys showed up. So it showed kind of where we are as a football team, and we're excited about where we are right now in camp. It's great to have the fans back. Didn't have them last year. You feel a difference when the fans aren't there and when they're there. The energy they bring and the players getting to see them up close, and it really changes things when they're here. So very appreciative of our fans and excited to continue to work.
When you look at this defense, are you confident in their playmaking skills when it comes to being a ball hawk and just turnovers in general?
Very confident in the defense, and Taryn, it kind of showed yesterday in practice. Raheem said this in the team meeting, that we understand that after every practice, somebody's going to be frustrated, because the way practice goes is if the defense is really successful in that practice, then the offense wasn't successful, and vice versa. So yesterday's practice was an example of the way they were on the ball. Mike Hughes had 2 punch-outs, and I mean legit punch-outs, the way he went after the ball, one where he's squaring them up, one where he's selling his body out, just the way it's being taught. And so when you have that, and so now you can praise the defense for being able to get after the ball and take it away and punch it out, and then you're getting on the offense to continue to work on ball security. And those ball security drills that we do, them taking those serious and making sure we're enhancing that. So that's the great thing about it, Taryn. Iron sharpens iron like man sharpen man. And so really being able to display the defense's ball skills and ball huckability, and really making sure the offense are on top of the ball security.
Terry, we were talking to Kyle yesterday about speaking of Chark and Mooney, going down kind of similar time period, but he said that you guys already had that workout planned with Chark.
Yeah, Mark. It was already planned. Believe it or not. So one of the quarterbacks was working with him in Dallas. Believe it or not, this summer, and he had been telling us about him and how good he looked, and so we had already scheduled that workout. And it just so happened to be afterwards. But he looked really good. We know the type of player he is. He's had some unfortunate injuries in his career. But he showed up in really good shape. He's a really smart guy. He's already picking things up really well. So it was truly already planned.
Which quarterback was that worked out?
I'm going to let you guess. What do you think? Who was it? It was.
I have a 25% chance of getting it right. Emory Jones.
No, it wasn't Emory. No. Anybody else? Easton Stick. There you go. Easton Stick. So Easton. So we told Easton that this is your first.
They were on the same team last year.
Yeah. So we told him this is your first transaction, and so we said, hey, this is your first transaction because you recommended him. He came in. He's looked good. So now it's on you. So we'll see how it works, and it's on Easton.
TV, does he get $50?
No, we can't pay. We can't pay players any money for doing that, Josh.
Terry, as it pertains to Drake and his future, obviously you wanted to be here long term. Are you guys looking at extending him prior to the end of this year in contract negotiations as the market continues to move?
Yeah, Mark, we won't get into it. We won't talk specifically about the contract, but I understand the question why you ask it. And we do love Drake, and it's all positive with him. And we always talk about it's not just about the production, but it's the mentality and the type of person Drake is and the way he carries himself, the way he works, everything that we preach that we want to be, he's about those things. No different than the way we talk about Chris Lindstrom as a guard. We know the skills he has as a guard, but the way he carries himself, the consistent worker, the mentality, he's one of those guys that whenever, if we're not winning or he's not successful or we're not successful as a team, it bothers him. He's not just okay showing up and things just going the norm. He wants to be the very best he can be for the team. So we love him so much, love his mentality. but just we wouldn't talk specifically about the contracts.
Is it benefit to signing a player like him before, earlier, or do you guys wait?
Yeah, it depends. There are times that as you study the market, there are times going early to the market can be beneficial when you're looking at. But then there's also times, if you can look historically, that it's okay to wait to the appropriate time. So we weigh those factors. We're constantly studying contracts that come in and studying the market and what we expect and trying to anticipate things. It's a regular part of what we do. And so there are times it's a case-by-case basis, but real clear with how we feel about Drake.
Terry, what brought the confidence to have Ryan Newell just step into the position to be the starter? Because normally guys bring in a veteran center, right in case of emergency type deal. So what brought on that confidence that Ryan Newell can step right in for Drew Dalton and be the guy?
Yeah, great question. That's an example of Ryan from he comes here as an undrafted free agent and he continues to build up. I think it says a lot about lead and our offensive line and that group and the development plans. And so he did that. He stuck to the plan and he continued to build up. And then so when we had to play him, he started 8 games last year. We're 5-3 in the games he started. Again, he was the offensive lineman against Tampa on Thursday night. That's unique to be able to do that. The amount of time that was on the clock and for us to get the ball down and do that's pretty impressive on all 11 on the field. But that center is a big deal in that. He was the one that did that. We had a winning record when he was starting at center last year, and he started a few games prior to that. So 11 starts. The person he is, he's one of those guys that, again, y'all have been around him. He's got this natural confidence. He's good at everything. Like if they're playing video games, he dominates people in video games. If they're playing pickleball, he dominates in pickleball. He's kind of one of those guys that's just good at everything, but he's really taking control and taking command of that group. And it also, I would say another thing that gives you confidence is what's around him. We have the same guys. And so you have Burge to his left and you got Chris to his right. And then you got Jake and you got Caleb. So when you have that same group around, because it would be a little more challenging if you're making some changes in some other areas. So it has a lot to do with him, the cohesiveness of the group in general, and he's really taking command and really blended in.
How big is having Tyler in that running back room to complement Bijan?
It's awesome. And those guys are they're both, talking about Tyler and Bijan, they're both really unselfish. They're great friends. They travel together in the summer. Like they're really they're great friends. They complement each other really well. They're both extremely unselfish, meaning if they're in to protect, you see both of them, it's the same way. Bijan's going to sell himself out and throw his body around to protect the same way Tyler will. So to have both of them, the way they complement each other, and we've constantly talked about wanting to get Tyler even more because of the type of player he is and the different things he can do, and they're both so versatile. Tyler's a 4-down player, meaning he can run the ball and he can catch the ball and he can run down in the kicking game and throw his body around. So he's such a unique player and talented player, but the unselfishness of both of them is what makes it work.
How are you guys approaching Kyle, his contract situation, after this year?
Yes, same like we just said with Drake or any other player. We wouldn't talk about them. We're not going to talk about specific contracts, but. We're
among friends.
So let me ask you this question. If we turn the cameras off and start talking about it, do you think it would stay in this room?
Well, no, we're reporters. What are you talking about? No, you would be doing our jobs.
So, but look, I'll say this about Kyle. Kyle, again, we're talking about how guys showed up in great shape and showed up the right way. Kyle did the same thing. We're managing him in the offseason the right way, and then he's in the summer. Those guys really did a lot of work together. He showed up in great shape and showed up in his mentality, and so now continuing to build chemistry with Mike and with his teammates. We love where Kyle is right now. But again, we have conversations with all those things. We're not going to do it here in this forum, but very excited about where Kyle is right now.
To that, you have a bunch of guys in contract years, make or break years for them.
Yeah.
Are the conversations with those players, obviously they, to a certain extent, control their own destiny, whether they're going to be here long term or not. So, is it as simple as you just those guys know they got to go out there and perform if they'd like to get a job here again next year, or they're going to be looking somewhere else?
I don't know. It's a bunch of guys. Is it a bunch?
Well, I mean, it's
A handful.
It'd be Katie, right?
Johansson.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what you define as a bunch. A few.
So we got a few. Yeah, we got a few. But they're different situations. I believe one great thing we have here, Mark, is we communicate really well with the players. And the players at any point, sitting down with Raheem or sitting down with me, we communicate with the agents. And so they're all different situations, different circumstances. But the mentality of our guys is really cool because our guys, they don't, and just being real, like, they don't really think like that. They're focused on having a great Sunday and having a great practice today and doing everything they can do that we can be effective today so we can continue to build in training camp and get ready for 9-7 to go start the season off the right way. That's what those guys are focused on. And there really is an unselfishness, and they know that hey, look, if you keep your head down, stay focused, and do your job, then things are going to go well here or somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality. If somebody is uncomfortable with a situation, Mark, that they come right upstairs and we talk about it, or their agent calls and we talk about it. We're very open with our players in terms of the way we communicate. But the mentality, because it's not like that everywhere. There are some guys that get so hyper-focused on that they're not good teammates and they're not actually getting ready. You know, it happens like that some places, but credit to the players and the men that we're talking about. They're just out there working and trying to have a great season.
In that same line, I feel like the elephant in the room is still Kirk Cousins. And for, since January, the organization's stance on Kirk has remained consistent. Feel comfortable with him as the backup. But now circumstances do change. You have 53-man roster cutdowns. You have injuries that are happening across the league. Is the organization's stance still on Kirk Cousins the same as it's always been, or is it evolving?
It's Kirk's been the ultimate professional, and I know I think Raheem said this. Outside, it's a lot more of a deal than it is in the building. He shows up, he does his job, just like anybody else. Our job is to do the best for this football team. Our job is to be experts on the other 31 teams and to be an expert on our team and make sure we can build the right 70-man roster, meaning 53 on the active, 16 on the practice squad, and your international player. We got to build the best 70-man roster so we can go win games. That's what we're focused on. And Kirk, just like all the other players, they're focused on coming here and doing their job. That's what he's been doing. So that's where we're focused. And in terms of making moves, whether it's trades or whether it's acquiring players, we're always looking at those factors. We're going to do whatever we can do to make this team as best as it can possibly be. But he's been a great professional. He's handled himself well.
Yesterday, Arthur Blank was talking about he feels as good as he has in a long time when it comes to not just the staff, but everywhere on the football team, special teams, offense, defense. Do you echo those same sentiments, and at what point in the offseason did you feel the same?
We're blessed to have Arthur Blank's constant support, and what I mean is whatever we need, Arthur's going to do whatever he can for us to be as effective as we can with whatever we need. And again, you see the facility and the reason the fans couldn't be here last year with all the construction and the weight room. And Mark, have they let you work out in the weight room?
No, I really wish they would.
We should have at least one. Now you're gonna have to sign waivers because it's not for everybody. Can't
Major medical, you're fine.
But if you look at all the areas and any enhancement, any improvement, he gives us everything we need to be successful. And we've constantly talked about, Maria, we're going to speak with our actions, and because we don't want to be up here saying what we're going to do and what we're excited about, and we got to speak with our actions. We got to speak when this season starts. So I would say that we appreciate all the support we get from Arthur. I would say that we have a lot of confidence and faith in the people here. We do, but like with Raheem and the culture he set and the way it filters through the coaching staff, with our staff and the way our staff works, and everybody knows their roles and know how they play a part in the big picture vision, and everybody is working as hard as they possibly can to accomplish that with the type of players that we're just talking about. Like you said, there are some players in contract years. There are some situations, some teams would have issues with that right now, but we don't, because we have unselfish players that just want to come show up and win. So we have a lot of faith in the people here. But again, we got to speak with our actions, and we got to make sure we stick to the process and we get ready to go out there and prove it with our results.
And going back to Kyle for a second,
yeah.
I know you said you love the way that he showed up after the off season, but what specifically have you seen just in these early days of camp from Kyle that makes you think, okay, he's really here, he's ready to work, all of those things?
Yeah, look, Kyle's had some challenges through, and Kyle had he has the injury. He's had a number of different quarterbacks. When you really go back through it, he had 5 different quarterbacks that he's had to. Okay, I guess with Taylor too, right? So there's all those things. There's chemistry factors. There's all these different things, and so he's had some challenges, but he's got the right mindset. Like there's outside noise and there's all these things, but I truly believe that he ignores that stuff and he's focusing on just being a great teammate and being here for no different than we talk about guys like Bijan and Tyler. They're great teammates. They're unselfish. That's the way he's showed up. He really wants to be the best that he can for us, but he looks good physically. He's moving well. He's as healthy as he's been. And, again, the mentality of just being a great teammate, building that chemistry with the guys the right way. So it's all positive.
There's always a lot of confidence at the beginning of the season that this team can win and things like that, but this team hasn't been in the playoffs since 2017. So what makes you believe that this current roster can take that next step and get back to the playoffs? And are you starting to feel maybe outside noise or pressure to perform, especially as the general manager?
No, no pressure or anything like that. That's every season, right? You have to go into every season, Allison, and expect that because all 32 teams have pressure to win. If you had a great season last year or if you didn't have a great season, all 32 teams have pressure to win. Like you said, it's been a number of years, and I totally understand that, but we're focusing on the process of doing everything we can do right now, and everybody in their role, and my role as a GM, and Raheem's role as a head coach, and everybody's doing everything they can do to be as effective as they can be. And those questions can be challenging sometimes, Allison, because like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and go through our roster and tell you all the reasons that I believe that we're going to be effective, because we can't do that. We're not going to come up here, like you said, and talk about how good we're going to be. We have to prove it with our actions, and that's how we're going to speak this year. And with all the again, with our players, the way they're working, our coaches, our staff, everybody's doing the best they possibly can. And so we do have faith and belief in our team. We do have confidence in our team, but again, we got to speak with our results.
What was the main thing that you all saw in Diablo when you all were recruiting him or trying to sign him, and how comfortable are you all with that inside linebacker position with him, Troy, and JD, the guys that will be competing for that starting spot?
So another cool thing that Raheem's been doing in meetings is he puts up some highlights of players. And it's cool that he does that, because like the first guy he did was Jamal Agnew, and he puts up Jamal Agnew's highlights, and it's like, man, like some of these guys don't know who Jamal Agnew is, and you look at him and all the things that he's done, they don't realize that he's not just a returner. He was an effective offensive player. He was an effective defensive player. Like, he's the real deal. So the next day was Devon Diablo. And you see this dude running around, I mean, with his length and his speed and his athleticism, his physicality, and you see him run around making a lot of plays, and a lot of people don't realize how good of a player he is, because he's a low-key guy. He's kind of like nonchalant, not in a bad way, but he's a low-key guy. You might not know much about him. He's just number 0 out there, but this dude's a really good player. You don't hear him talking, but he can run. He's athletic. He made a couple plays yesterday that you wouldn't even realize, because his size and his length, and he's just in the passing lane because of his range and the way he can move. So very, very excited about him. And you look at that inside linebacker position, you got Caden, who we know how versatile Caden is, right? Caden can play that stack position, and he's continuing to develop there, but you can move him around, do some different things with him. And then you got Devon Diablo, again, with his size and length and the way he runs, and he can move around too, because he's a pressure player because of his speed and toughness and athleticism. And then so you have, and then again, we've talked about Jalen Walker, and we know he's on the edge, but obviously you can put him back there and you can do some different things at him from the stack position. And then JD, and so we feel really good about not just at the linebacker position, but we have some versatile players. And with Brick and our defensive scheme And the way we don't just have this fixed 11, and these are your 11 starters, and this is the guy that comes in nickel. We have so many versatile pieces and guys that can do some different things, so you can deploy them in different areas. And so it's so that part's exciting. But again, Divine's kind of a low-key guy that people don't talk about a lot, but we're excited about him.
Terry,
one more.
Terry, now that this had time to breathe and, the chips have fallen where they may.
Yes, sir.
How would you characterize the organization's decision to sign Kirk and then draft Michael Penix? Is that considered a success at this point?
Well, I know we talked about exactly why we did it at that time, right? We went through that and went through the timing of it. And what we have to do is you have to have successful – to be a good football team, you have to be good at that position, right? If you're not good at that position, then you're not going to have a successful football team. And right now, again, we can't say too much because we got to go out there and prove it, but we love where we are at the position ultimately. And without that, you're not going to win many football games. So we're excited about Mike and what he's doing. Again, Kirk's been an ultimate professional. He's showing up. He's doing everything that he needs to do. So we're excited about where we are at this time.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
All right.
Thanks, Terry.
I was just going, hey, go ahead. No, I was just saying with the